Okay, so we all know that smoking's bad for you. Causes a bunch of health problems, destroys your teeth, and makes you and everything in a 10-mile radius stink. Smoking often brings negative traits, and many of us have bad associations with it. Be it that colleague that has to take a 10-minute break every hour to smoke, shout out to all the chefs watching, love you guys. Or coming home from school and finding your mom's Santa Claus deep in the chimney, puffing away trying to hide her smoking from the neighbors. Then why do cigarettes make some people look so damn cool? In some cases, it probably comes down to the person's innate appearance. As we say in Norway, alt kler den smukke, which roughly translates to everything suits the beautiful. But I think that in many cases, it goes deeper than that. One aspect that contributes to cigarettes looking cool is the contrast between competence and doing something that's objectively bad for you. This contrast especially comes from the fact that building elite competence in a given field is often associated with a bunch of positive traits, such as being a hard worker, having self-control, and being driven to reach your goals. While smoking often brings up thoughts of addiction, laziness, and lack of self-control. The fact that these elite individuals have vices just like the rest of us can make them more relatable. It can also make their performance and achievements seem more impressive. Additionally, because of the association of the aforementioned negative traits, many of us will tend to attribute more of that person's competence to their innate talent rather than their practice. The allure of a once-in-a-generation talent often brings much more attention, mystique, and interest than that of the struggling tryhard. I remember seeing the 1975 live for the first time at a festival when they were touring their debut album. If I'm being honest with myself, I was a pretty musically narrow-minded metalhead at the time that thought of them as a too sugary sweet pop artist because I had mostly heard girls on the radio. I reluctantly agreed to see them because my wife wanted to and was introduced to one of my all-time favorite bands touring what has become one of my favorite albums. I was especially blown away by Matty Healy's charisma and lackadaisicality. I remember being perplexed by him seeming so relaxed that he could smoke during the set and still put on one of the best shows I'd experienced up to that point. Later, I would find out that his carefree attitude stemmed from the fact that the band had already played together for over a decade and that they had honed their craft and worked hard for a long time before they broke out with their debut album. Slash is another good example. I remember obsessively watching the Use Your Illusion live DVDs when I was a teenager and being flabbergasted at how someone could play the guitar like that and be carefree, running around and smoking throughout the performance. There's something weirdly fascinating about someone being so good at their craft that they can shred and sing people's faces off while being blind drunk and smoking packs of cigarettes. When it relates to fiction, I'd like to highlight two common uses for cigarettes. The first one is where cigarettes are part of the character design. The second one is when cigarettes are used as a device to facilitate exposition and dialogue. These two are of course not mutually exclusive and are often used simultaneously. Let's start with character design. Can you tell me what character this is? How about now? For the non-weebs out there, this is Sanji from One Piece. One of the most controversial alterations to a character's design was done to him when 4Kids censored his cigarette in their English dub. They did this by changing his cigarette to a lollipop. On the surface you could say, that shouldn't matter. Either way it's just something sticking out of his mouth. But due to the reaction of the readers and watchers of the series, we see that this is not the case. I think this comes from the fact that this seemingly small part of Sanji's character design is something important to the characterization and tone of his character. Bear with me if you're far along in the series, as I try to make the next observations as what a viewer could get as a first impression. I know that his characterization becomes much more nuanced and complex later on. Being a chain smoker at 19 may point us towards the fact that this is a character that has had to enter adulthood earlier in life than others. It can also be a part of showing us his emotional impulsivity together with his weakness around women. Cigarettes, together with his love for food and women, exhibit Sanji's love for the finer things in life. Lastly, it might also be seen as a coping mechanism for his childhood traumas. On the other hand, the lollipop makes him seem more bratty and childish. A seemingly small surface level change to his design makes huge changes to the inferences we make about his character. When discussing the use of cigarettes as a device to facilitate exposition and dialogue, I would like to talk about one of my recent favorite shows, The Bear. Those smoking breaks I was having a go at the start of the video grants the writers opportunities to write different scenes in a natural way. The Bear is riddled with these breaks being used for introspective scenes or fleshing out different characters and their relationships through dialogue. This results in cigarettes often being present in important character-defining moments, which in turn may make the audience associate something positive with that character and smoking.
Well, my first job was McDonald's. You don't get to be creative. You just work with robots and everything's automatic and fast and easy. I won't make a mistake again.
Yeah, you will. But not because you're you, just because shit happens.
Moreover, the continuous use of smoking as a coping strategy helps communicate the tone and culture of the restaurant world as often being hectic, intense and stressful. The aspects of tone and culture play into and strengthen the use of cigarettes as a writing device by making it feel like an integral part of the setting of the show. This in turn makes the inclusion of all the smoking break scenes feel natural instead of a contrived inclusion just to serve up dialogue and exposition. Oh dear lord, I'm looking forward to season 3.